All right, thank you everyone for showing up for this session. My name is Vivek Kadam. I look after the sales at I2E Consulting. I also act as the account manager for most of our customers. We have with us today Himanshu Arora. He is the practice lead for Project Online at I2E Consulting. He has helped various organizations in the Project Online implementation and is also supporting a lot of our customers. Uh, a little about our organization, I2E Consulting. We are a software services providing company with offices in the US, in India, and in UK. We also now have a satellite office in Canada. We started in the year 2008, and ever since we've started, we've been working with the pharma domain. As you can see, we work with some really big names. Our services, they revolve around project and portfolio management, where we do a lot of work in Microsoft Project Online and Planisware. We do a lot of work in data analytics, cloud, and staff augmentation. We also have experience in building our own project management applications available on all platforms such as iOS, Android, Mac, etc. We have a lot of experience in data visualization tools like Power BI, Tableau, Spotfire, you name it, and we have the experience in all these tools. So that was about I2E Consulting, and we will move on to this webinar session. This is actually a series. We call it I2E Tech Talk. We are in the middle of a series of webinar for Project Online, and this is the second session. So I would like to hand it over to Himanshu. And Himanshu, please go ahead. The stage is all yours.
Thanks, sir. Yeah, thanks, Vivek. And thanks everybody for joining us today. With this session 2 of the 5-part series on Project Online. Uh, so the people who have joined us in the last session. In the last session, we have discussed about we have given a brief overview of what is Project Online. How can we get started quickly with the Project Online? How can we create projects? What are different rules available in Project Online? And what this entire application, this platform offers to the to the folks who are into project management. So in today's session, we are going to discuss what this tool offers in terms of project scheduling. What are different tools and techniques that are available, and we'll discuss about what are different approaches and how to create a realistic plan. What are the options available for that, and we'll also see like how can we see once the entire schedule is ready, how can we visualize, we view the critical part, and what is the slack available in different activities. So this is the agenda for today. uh, let's start with the demonstration of all these things. So yeah, so this is our environment, Project Online environment, right? And I mean, last time we have discussed that this is a landing page, and to access all the projects that are available in the system, we need to go to the project center. In the project center, all the projects are listed, and you can view only those projects where you have the authority. So you can see we have listed projects, and they're grouped by different domains. So to understand the scheduling concept, let's take an example of a construction project. So this is a sample project that we are going to take for this session. I'm opening this project in project Microsoft project. So to open that, we need to click on this icon. Yeah, it's opening. So this is a sample schedule that we have in Project Online. From where, I mean, from Project Online, we have opened this sample schedule for residential construction, which is sample project. So here we have listed down, different activities. So I mean, we have the option to view activities at level 1. We can view level 2 activities, and we can also drill down and see what are the different activities at level 3, and we can go down and look at what are the activities at level 4. So, I mean, the structure that you're seeing here, I mean, how we have, the structure which is available here, I mean, we call this as a work breakdown structure, and how the structure is formed. So, for the scheduling, I mean, there are two different approaches that you can take. I mean, either you can take the top down approach, or you can take the bottom up approach. So, whatever approach that you take, the structure you'll get is this structure, and we call this as a work breakdown structure. So in the top-down approach, so estimation is done at the topmost level, and then the entire project is broken down into at the sub activities or the activities level. In the bottom up approach, the estimation is done at the activities level, and then it goes up to the work package level and to the project level. So I mean, as I mentioned, that the structure that we'll get is this structure. So once the entire set of activities are defined, like what all that needs to be done for this project. So the second step is in the scheduling is we need to define the durations. For each activity, we can define durations. It could be in terms of days, it could be in terms of hours, it could be done in terms of months. So we can define duration for each activity. So once we have the activities and the durations, so automatically all the activities will start from the start date that we have defined for the project. Now, to create a realistic plan, we also need to define the logical dependencies among the activities. So we have got four type of dependencies that we can establish in micro project or project online. So those dependencies are finish to start to start, finish to finish, and start to finish. So what does it? I mean, what does these dependencies mean? So let's take an example for this section for foundation works. We have got dig foundation and pour concrete. Logically, pour concrete cannot begin until the dig foundation is completed. What it means that the dependent activity cannot start until the activity to which it depends on is completed. So they are having a dependency of finish to start. Similarly, we have another set of dependency, which is start to start. What does it mean? The dependent activity can only start once the activity on which it depends on has started. So once it has started, the second activity can start. The second activity can start at a later time, but the start of the second activity or the predecessor activity depends on the start of the successor activity. So to define start to start, we can use SS. So if we are not defining anything, so it means if we are putting just the number, so it means that these activities have a finish to start dependency. If we'll put SS with the activity, then it will create the dependency, start to start dependency between the this activity and the activity which is at row number 4. So we have defined 4 SS here. It means the start of this activity depends on the start of this activity. There could be other type of dependencies. For example, finish to finish. So finish to finish dependency means the finish of the dependent activity is dependent on the finish of the successor activity. So what it means, there could be an example. Let's take an example. Let's say there's a section where we are doing the electrical work in the project. So let's consider there are two activities: add wiring and inspection of the electrical works. So inspection of electrical works cannot finish until the add wiring activity is completed. So this type of dependency is called the finish to finish dependency, and the dependent activity can finish anytime later. Once the first activity is finished. And the fourth type of dependency is the start to finish dependency. What it means that finish of the dependent activity is depends on the start of the first activity. So let's take an example. In the construction project, just assume that there are some activities which are let's take that the roof trusses, they are being built off site, and they have to be delivered on site, and then only the assembling of the roof can happen. So the assembling of roof, the finish of assembling of the roof is dependent on the start of the truss delivery. Once the truss delivery has started, now the activity, the assembling roof can finish anytime, later, once this first activity is finished. So these are the 4 type of dependencies that are available in, Microsoft Project or Project Online, and this can help in creating realistic plans. And there's another, a tool or technique which is available, that is called leads and lags. Sometimes there's need to, delay or accelerate an activity before the, dependent activity has finished. So for that, we can put lags and leads. So for example, if we take this level concrete example, so level concrete is dependent on the start of pour concrete. So once the pour concrete has started, the leveling of concrete can start, but it is having 2 days of delay. Like once this is started, it will also start, but it will start after 2 days. So this way we can put, lags in the activity. And if we want to accelerate an activity, then we can put that in the negative. And then this activity will actually accelerate. So before this has finished, this activity can start. These 2 techniques we can use. Let's say, for example, there are certain, constraints, and because of that, an activity cannot start, and you cannot keep your resources engaged there. So you can keep a lag there. So it will automatically add, those number of days in the plan, but it will not engage your resources. So this way you can use lags. And for leads, I mean, during the execution, if your project is getting delayed, then you can, accelerate some activities by starting them early using the leads. So for leads, we can define that in negative, and for lag, we define that as positive number. And the other thing is, we can put that in terms of days. I mean, in terms of duration, it could be days or hours or months, or we can also, define lead or lag as percentage. So once the first activity has 50% completed, then only, this activity will start. So we can also define it that way. Like we can define 50%. So, this is how we can make use of leads and lags. So, once like we have defined the activities, duration, and we have set up the dependencies, now we'll have a realistic plan, right? And all these activities in our plan are important, but there are certain activities which are actually critical. By critical, what we mean is we cannot, have any delay in those activities. If the activity will get delayed, the project finish date will be impacted. So the system automatically gives us the feature where we can define, once we have set up the dependencies and duration, the system automatically creates a critical path. So critical path is the longest path in the duration, and all the activities which fall in the critical path has got slack, zero slack. We'll talk about what is slack later, but it is the, we do not have the luxury to delay these activities. So if these activities will get delayed, so the entire project will be impacted. So to see the critical path, what we can do, we are currently in the Gantt chart view. We can move to the tracking Gantt view, and graphically, we can see the red ones are the critical activities, and the blue ones are the non-critical activities. So these non-critical activities have got some slack, some buffer time, and these red ones, these are the non-critical activities. These are the critical activities. They have got no buffer. If these activities will get delayed, so automatically it will delay the entire project. So the other way we can see that, like, which activities are critical and which are not critical. So by default, there's a field which is available. This is an intrinsic field. This field is available as a default field. Critical. If we add this column to our view, so all the activities which are critical is having yes against them, and for the activities which are non-critical, they are having no. It doesn't mean that the non-critical activities will always be non-critical. Once the buffer is exhausted, So these activities will become critical, right? So when we are, let's say there could be a scenario where you have a crunch of resources, and I have uh, I have some buffer time for these activities. I can remove my resource from this activity and assign it to some other project or some other activity, which is at that point of time more critical, and still get your work done. And this project will not be impacted. I mean, the duration will remain same, and the finish date will remain same. So this is how we can take help of the non-critical activities. And these critical activities also, once they're completed, they'll become non-critical. So this is how you can view the critical path. The entire path. You can let me show you the entire path. So these are the activities which are the red ones are the critical ones, and the blue ones are the non-critical ones. So to complete our project on time, we have to make sure that the red ones they finish on time. We do not have the luxury to delay these activities. So this is how you can see the entire critical path. Okay. Now, we were talking about the slack, and we're talking about the buffer time. So as I mentioned that for the critical activities, there's no buffer time. So there are two type of slacks which are available. There's one which is called free slack, and there's the other one which is called the total slack. So free slack is the time, that we can have in our project. This is the buffer time that we have, and we can delay this activity with this many days without impacting the successor activity. And the total slack is the amount of time that we have. The buffer time that we have without impacting the project finish date. So what it means that this activity we can delay 160 days and still will be able to deliver the project on time. So this is just a sample project that we have taken, but once you have your project in place with proper dependencies and duration and everything in place, so you'll be able to figure out like what is the float or slack available for each activity. And this is how you can make sure that your project completes on time. You can make use of different techniques like you can delay this activity to this very days and still complete your project. And if you have some other important activity, then you can remove resources from this activity and complete the other work. And once that is completed, then you can put the resources again, and still you'll be able to complete this activity on time. So these are some basic techniques that we have for project scheduling. First of all, let me recap. First of all, we need to define whether we take top-down approach or bottom-up approach to create a realistic plan. And we can define the activities, the work packages, their duration, and then can also set the dependencies. So automatically the system will give us the critical path. And from the critical path, we can figure out that these are the critical activities and these are the non-critical activities. And while executing the project, if there's some delay, then we know like these are the critical activities that I need to put my more resources. If I'm crashing my schedule or doing some fast tracking, because while putting resources on these critical activities, then only I can squeeze the timeline. And for non-critical activities, since they're already non-critical, putting resources there will not have any impact on the project. Yeah. So, that was it from our side for today. This is what we wanted to cover. If you have any questions, then please go ahead.
Thank you, Himanshu. That was a great presentation. We'll wait for a couple of minutes. We have already exceeded the time limit, but we'll wait for a couple of minutes to see if we have any questions. If not, we will end this session. To all the
So-
attendees, I would like to tell you that this is a series of webinar that we are doing. There will be 3 more sessions uh, coming up on Thursdays, same time. So if you have liked our session, I would request you all to please be there for the next session and the one after that. We do such events once a month. Since this is a series, there are multiple events happening for the same topic, but every month there are different topics that we cover, and we have internal speakers, we even have guest speakers from the industry. The goal is to provide more and more information to our attendees, take their feedback, and you know, be better. All right. I don't see any questions coming in. If you, all the attendees, if you want to contact us offline, you can always reach out to us. You will also be getting a recording link for this particular session. If in case now you have missed this one, you can always check out the recording, and you can always get in touch with us through email. Subscribe to our newsletters and be updated with all the information that we have available for you. And do follow us on LinkedIn. We are also on Instagram. So yeah, I think that is it. Himanshu, I don't see any questions coming in. I think we can wrap this up. Thank you so much for your time, Himanshu. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining this session. I hope to see you all in the next session.
Thanks.
Thank you
Shabam.
so much.
Have a great day.
Yeah. Bye bye.